Stephen Wood and I organise the Eastbourne Classic Bus Rally. I am an owner of an old Eastbourne bus which dates from 1963. It's an AEC Regent 5 and it's bodied by Eastlands Coachworks that were based in Blackburn in Lancashire. I've had this vehicle now for just over 10 years. My association with Eastbourne is that although I don't live in Eastbourne, I live in Hertfordshire, I used to come down and holiday in Eastbourne as a young lad, teenager. Really fell in love with, always been a bus enthusiast, but really liked the Eastbourne buses, always found they had character, and I must admit that one day I never thought that I would be actually sort of owning one, so I feel sort of very privileged to own a part of history. We're recreating the old 6 route, which is between the station and Princess Park, and that's via the Meads and the foot of Beachy Head bandstand along the seafront.
Okay, I'm Peter Bryden. I'm here with my 1939 Leyland Lion for the Eastbourne Running Day, which is a yearly event where vintage buses in Eastbourne run all the bus services. It's done on a free, voluntary basis. We carry all the passengers free for the day. I grew up in Eastbourne. I actually went to school on this bus. There were 5 of them that were to be delivered to Eastbourne just before the war, but the other 4 got requisitioned, and this one was the only one that stayed in Eastbourne. The original 75-year-old seats, the material is moquette. We have renewed the leather around the outside, but otherwise it's all original. It actually was featured in BBC Love Story a few years ago, where we drove it up to Beachy Head and back, and we did the odd wedding as well.
Is it a comfortable ride, Peter?
It's quite difficult to drive because it has what's called a crash gearbox, no synchromesh, so you have to double the clutch. No power steering, of course, so the steering's quite heavy. So it's quite a challenge to drive sometimes. We're going to go up to Meads and then along the seafront, down to the archery and then back up to the seafront again, and then back down to the station. I remember when we first moved to Eastbourne, and we lived in Hampden Park, and I used to remember being taken on the open top buses that ran from Hampden Park down to the seafront. I think that's probably one of my earliest memories.
The Southdown buses that operated in Eastbourne were all green, so that was Southdown's sort of standard colour. Eastbourne buses, they used to be the blue, Oxford blue and primrose, up until the early 70s. So right from the historic sort of early beginnings, the first bus company was Municipal Bus Company was formed in 1903, but right from the early beginnings until the sort of late 60s, early 70s, the cream was a very sort of distinctive blue and primrose. And after that, the Eastbourne introduced a very sort of insipid, sort of pale cream colour, which really didn't have as much character as the blue and primrose. And that lasted for a few years, and then they experimented with a number of colours. And of course now it's since the Eastbourne Corporation as a bus company no longer exists and is being taken over by Stagecoach. It's all the corporate Stagecoach livery. So the Eastbourne livery is really lost forever, and it's only really carried on by those vehicles that are currently in preservation.
Have you been doing this every year?
Second year I've done it.
Second year you've done it. And where are you heading off today?
We're going to Pevensey, Stones Cross and back here.
I'm Graham McQueen, and we're doing a service to the foot of Beachy Head and then back right along the seafront to Prince's Park at the opposite end of the seafront, and then back to the railway station. I shall be doing that, it looks like, 4 times today. The vehicle is an ex-Eastbourne Corporation vehicle. It's a Leyland Titan PD2 from 1966. They had quite a few of these, and also the AEC Regent Mark V, which is in similar livery to this, also in the railway station car park at the moment. In fact, the chap who owns the Regent V was a joint owner with me with the London Transport Route Master. So it's London Transport in the blood, really.
Original number DC 417 DCD. Started life, I believe, at Worthing. Went through Brighton, back to Chichester, and ended up in Portsmouth. It's now privately owned. She's 50 this year.
Can you remember when you were a lad, your first bus ride?
Oh yeah, that was London Transport.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
And what was the fare then? Oh God, can you remember? What
Two
year?
shillings of return, I could go from Ilford to Wanstead
Right.
in a day for 2 shillings.
Goodness me. And what year would that have been? Would that be the 60s?
Oh yes, because I started driving these in the 70s.
Do you enjoy this sort of
Yeah, love it.
nostalgic trips?
Every day. I'd do it if I had the chance. If I had one of these, I'd do it every day.
Would you?
Yeah.
This one's got no power steering, so it's a lot harder than it should be, but it's about 40 odd years old, so it's sort of predates or it's early power steering, but it's as good as not having any.
So what do you normally do then, Andrew?
I'm a train driver.
You're a train driver,
Yeah.
so you've got 2 contrasts here. haven't
Yeah, there's multiple me's. Yeah, my name's Andrew Turton.
And you're the driver of this wonderful bus, and I noticed it's got Seaford on there. Can you tell us a little about maybe the history of this bus?
Yeah, well, the bus was originally Maidstone and District, but the owner of this company lives in Seaford, hence the Seaford and District name. We actually park up just outside Hailsham, so that's where this lives on a daily basis now.
It is a labour of love. When I first owned the bus, my knowledge of mechanics was quite basic, and you pick up things over time. I do some of the basic servicing and the smallish jobs, and gradually, as I say, acquire knowledge over time. Some of the larger jobs I don't tackle myself. I mean, that really is down to finding a specialist historic vehicle repairer, and there is someone that I go to that is about 40 miles away from where I live, and they do the bigger jobs, like for example, this year the clutch had to be changed in the vehicle, which was certainly way beyond my capabilities, so that was done by the specialist repairers. But generally, all of the major stuff I trust to the garage that I go to, and the smaller stuff I do by myself.
Yeah, there's a lot of blind spots, and it's a bit of a hot debate, but it's one thing that a lot of motorists and especially cyclists don't realise, just what you can't see. You know, they seem to think you're all seeing. You can see enough, but you do have sort of plenty of blind spots and 2 or 3 places to check at one time. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's okay.
Really have to pay tribute to the people that have brought the vehicles down today, because most of these vehicles are privately owned, are owned by private preservationists. They are very passionate about their vehicles. They like to show them off. Obviously today is a great opportunity for doing that. But I think also there are lots of people that have come up to me and said, well, we remember travelling on these vehicles. It's really great to see them. It's really great that some people take the trouble to actually sort of preserve them and look after them. So, and also there's been quite a few people, the non-enthusiasts that have come here, people that have seen the spectacle at the station, people that have really seen the buses, wondered what was going on, come up here and travelled on a few of the vehicles. They have, I think, had a really good day as well, and and there's a real buzz about it.
And your father was on the buses, was he?
He was indeed. He was a bus driver for something like 42 years in London, and then latterly down in Eastbourne for Eastbourne Buses and Stagecoach.
Oh, right. So what's your recollection of bus travel when you were young? What was your first trip on a bus?
I can't remember the first one, but I used to go to work with my dad quite a bit on the Route Masters. On the 159 was the route he'd done. From Thornton Heath up to West Hampstead then, and then we used to get the bus to Bromley, just sort of shopping and things like that. But I can't trace the interest back to any specific journey. It's just the fact that I've grown up, and my dad's in the industry, and there's a lot of very, very good people that you get to know. It's more like a family than an industry, so hence why I'm back. Right. In my spare time.
Well, we always have to thank Eastbourne for the weather. We've always been very fortunate, but today has gone extremely well indeed. We've had a few glitches. The vehicles are very old, and we've had 2 or 3 vehicles that have had to pull out due to mechanical failure, unfortunately, but we've tried to cover that as best we can. But the crowds have definitely turned out. We've certainly had a few hundred, even into the thousands.